What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is a terrific Thursday, and we're not really seeing much action on the market. So this gives a little bit of time today to kind of look at some things, see what's kind of going on. Not just talking about the market, just ripping it day after day after day. So it's kind of nice when you get the breather days because these are the days where you can really kind of figure out what's kind of going on. So we had a little bit of a gap down today, nothing crazy. Did pump there in the first 30 minutes. We rolled over there for about 2 hours or an hour and a half, barely more about an hour and a half. And then we had a nice little hour run. And then we pulled back for about the last hour and a half. Very, very subtle, nothing crazy. So that's really kind of the flow of the day. But it hasn't been anything crazy from the low of the day to the high. It's all been within about a 0.5%. So that's been about the day's range. So you just kind of tells you not much going on. Kind of past 2 days really kind of pretty quiet days there on the market. So, all right. Qs, kind of same thing. A little bit more ripped there to the upside in the mid, going into midday. All right. Fair enough. Qs a little bit underperforming the SP 500, which is really kind of interesting because the AAPL actually outpacing. Nice little gap up here on AAPL. So I'm kind of curious why the Qs are actually down more. So we'll go take a look at some things. IWM, though, for how much the IWM has been crushing life this week. I mean, we got a little bit of a gap down, about 0.4% of a gap down there on the IWM. You see it down about 0.17 or so, but it got down around 2% today. Yikes. What is the deal? Honestly, I think it was just more of a technical area. It was really kind of getting up into these previous kind of resistance support zones. It had ripped it pretty good, especially on Tuesday. So it makes sense. Has a little bit of a pullback resting day. I think we kind of mentioned yesterday, anything into this area is probably going to be pretty good buy up. I would imagine it pushes higher. Maybe it rolls over later on, comes and fills this gap later on. But I imagine it probably pushes, breaks this wick. Maybe here over the next week or two. Goes up maybe to like 185, 190 area, and then it comes back down later on. But IWM has been crushing it, just not today. Getting kind of crushed. So DIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average, nice sell down. Not really so much of that rip there. Not really so much of that bullish trend that we got going into midday. Okay, RSP, equal weight SP 500, pulling back basically since the open. Kind of down with those data lows. Kind of looks like the IWM a little bit. Just not as bad. But same kind of deal. Threw a nice little upper wick yesterday. Kind of getting up into those spots of some good support and resistance areas. So pretty good move there, especially after Tuesday. It also ripped it pretty well. All right, so that's the equal weight SP 500. So just start to look through. Okay, how's the VIX doing? VIX, interesting. Throwing a little bit of a lower wick there. Looks like it dropped off pretty good this morning. Had a pretty good drop off here, and then it bounced. Okay. Really kind of interesting. I mean, we haven't seen like crazy bearishness, but I mean, we are down very minorly. Nothing crazy. Dollar index kind of hanging out. Throwing a nice little lower wick today. I'll be watching the dollar and yields. Nice bounce here after the first hour. So first hour of the trading day, we got down pretty good, and then we bounced pretty good. Definitely off those lows. We did not break yesterday's low either. So this is a pretty important spot. We haven't gotten through this level yet. So be curious to see how, if we do eventually just consolidate here and then we break down. If we like bounce one day and then we come back down, kind of like check into that moving average and then come back down, that would look pretty bearish. So if we do see that would be a pretty bearish sign. Probably continue down. So we'll see what that looks like going forward. But for now, not really doing a whole lot. GLD, GLD having a pretty good day. Gold, all right, having a pretty good day. I really kind of thought it would go lower. Maybe it still will, but having a good day today. And the dollar's not really doing much, so that's kind of interesting. 10-year yield. Okay, so the yields have not made a new low compared to yesterday. Not yet. They got close. They are getting close. They are hanging on. At least they're on the 10-year. How's the 20-year? So we're going to have a 20-year treasury auction on Monday. Apparently, it's going to be kind of big. Now, the reason why I only bring that up is because, well, treasury auctions have not really been going that well over the past several months. And you can see, we're seeing some pretty good uptrends over the past couple of months. So now that inflation seems like it's been beat, the Fed even kind of mentioning, like, kind of trumpeting their successful campaign of raising interest rates to get inflation down. You can see November 1st, and even the CPI report from Tuesday, that we've had yields kind of drop off, kind of at the lower levels. The thing, though, is now that all that's done, it's not like we're continuing to break down or push lower. So if we kind of base out here, we're kind of doing it a little bit here on the 20-year yield, and if we, on the 30-year yield, kind of doing that as well. So if we get to Monday and the treasury auction doesn't go well and it starts to push back higher, especially on the longer terms, like the 10, 20, and the 30, that is something that might start to spook investors again. Because, I mean, if people aren't buying treasuries and treasuries are continuing to push higher, then we are going to have higher interest rates, right? And it doesn't even matter about inflation. And I don't know why the market reacted so strongly as it did to inflation data, anyways. But that's not my decision; it's the market. It is what it is. So HYG kind of hanging out as well. LQD pushing higher. Makes sense. Bond yields, longer term bond yields are down, so that does make sense. How about the TLT? TLT pushing up a little bit. Got a nice little uptrend here. Just kind of wanted to see how this is going to set in. So we got a nice little uptrend here. Yeah, looks okay. It is kind of like a flag pattern. Kind of looks like a flag pattern, but I don't know. It looks. I mean, it's just an uptrend. That's all it is. We'll see what happens when we kind of break up or break down. How that kind of sets up, but at least the TLT up on the day. All right. So let's take a look at that sector rotation and let's kind of see what is going on, because we got some things moving pretty good. So sector performance on the day. All right, so sector performance on the day, utilities. Remember, utilities were actually lagging behind pretty good yesterday. Interesting to see them up 1% on the day. That's interesting. All right. Tech, real estate, materials, communications, financials, healthcare, in line with the market, industrials, staples, and discretionaries. Interesting. Kind of trading there together. Energy is really getting hit, down 2.5%. All right. Let's take out the gap, see what we got here. So tech, communications leading the way on the intraday buying. Utilities, materials, real estate, financials, staples, healthcare, industrials, and discretionaries. Okay. Discretionaries really kind of fallen off here over the past 40 minutes or so. Energies, yeah, energy's been hit throughout the day. Just been hit throughout the day. Okay. Let's go take a look at said energies, commodities and stuff like that. So CL, let's take a look at crude oil. Ooh, crude oil. So we had contract roll this morning, last night, however you want to say that. Ew. Yeah, That's a stinger, man. Wow. What? 8 o'clock. Is there a major energy report? I won't have it on this. Alright, so there must have been some major report or something. Let's see what we got here. The squeeze is on for home builder. Short sellers don't care. WTO falls to 4-month lows. Can you just tell me why very quickly? Futures fell nearly 4%, below $74 barrel on Thursday, to the lowest level since July, amid increasing signs of low demand and eased concerns of scarce supply. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about that one for a while, right? One of those is going to have to give is either going to be crude oil or is going to be gasoline. And gasoline, typically the demand side does not give, right? If you're not seeing demand, typically, you're going to see the other side catch up first. And we were not seeing gasoline be strong and supportive of crude oil as it continued to go higher over the month of September, really August and September. And so we were seeing that. Let me just add it here. I'll just add it as a line chart. Boom, RB. There we go. Boom. So yeah, you can see we really kind of got off the same kind of trajectory there in late August when we had this contract roll, right? When we had this contract roll, that was about the time where we kind of deviated there. And then gasoline really started dropping. Crude oil continued to go higher. And, we were kind of talking about that. It's like, yeah. So supply side, which is the crude oil side, is most likely going to give up and drop in prices because the demand side, the gasoline side, is not being strong. Demand always wins out. So, rather interesting because we're seeing weak price action here on commodities because of demand. I mean, maybe that's why we're seeing some underperformance there on discretionary staples. So crude oil not doing well, gasoline not doing well, heating oil, imagine, probably not doing well. It's not as bad, definitely not as bad. So it's down pretty good, but it hasn't broken the lows from over the past week, so that's not as bad. I want to check. No, I'm not going to worry about that. I'll check on that in a little bit. But yeah, there we go. Home heating oil not doing the best. Any kind of major updates here? Stock retreats from rally as Fed doubts creep in. We're not seeing a major stock retreat, so that's just a headline to make headlines. It's not even important. Two of America's biggest retailers sound a holiday warning. So, over the past 2 days, we've had Target and Walmart give earnings. I would definitely say you want to dig into that a little bit because the stocks on both of those kind of reacted completely different. Walmart got hit pretty good. Target bounced pretty good. I think that was just a sell opportunity on the Target bounce. Corporate greed is fading. Okay. Is that something Target's saying? I'm not going to click on that article. I don't really see anything crazy out there as far as headlines. So, yeah, I'd just say it's a good day to do homework. Let's go do it. Oops. Didn't mean to grab that. It's this. I mean, there's nothing I got. I mean, the markets do what they always do. They just what the hell ever they want, really. I got nothing. What's really kind of interesting, I was just kind of looking at this when I got on the live stream, but this time period looks very similar, right? Back to the beginning of 22, where you had, of several months of declines, all the way into mid mid-March, and then we got this really sharp rally. Well, we just had like 3 months of declines. Hold on, when did we top out? So basically, okay, so August, September, October, basically into the end of October. Let me do this. Let me do this. I'm gonna grab this candlestick pattern because this looks very interesting. Bars pattern. So there. Let me just go to here. Let me just grab all that. I'm gonna overlay this. So last year was definitely more bearish. To start out. The other thing I wanted to look at is from that low. So like that, I mean that low, that rip that we had like last year in March. I mean, look at how almost accurate that is. I mean, would you be willing to be more bullish now? I don't know. I mean, these two kind of pullbacks kind of line up almost time wise. It's just that last year was a little bit more bearish. And part of the reason why last year was more bearish was because Russia invaded Ukraine in that February, which is this drop right here, this candle drop. So, but we did get that rip there. So, and that almost matches up to it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we start a new downtrend, I mean, and I said it like last week, I was like, man, this feels like a bear market rally because it was just so violent. So if we start to see it just kind of fade down, get back under 430, that would be big time.